So we can now also remove items. There are two things related to that I want to add to this app now. For one, it would be nice to have some fallback message here if we have no expenses at all. In addition, I want to show a little info message at the bottom whenever we did remove an item, which also offers us a button which we can click to bring back that expense item, in case we swiped accidentally. Now let's start with the easier thing, with showing that fallback message, instead of showing that list, which would be empty. To do that, we can use a ternary expression, or to mix things up, add a new variable here, which stores a widget, which we could name main content or anything like this. And initially here, we could use the center widget to show some centered text where we say no expenses found. Start adding some. Something like this. And this can be a const value here. And we want to replace that if we do have expenses. So here we can add a if check and check if registered expenses is not empty, another utility property offered by Dart, which we can use on lists to find out whether a list is not empty. And if registered expenses is not empty, we want to overwrite main content and store a different value in that variable instead. And that different value should be this expenses list here. So I will grab that list and cut it and store that in main content instead. And now it's of course main content that should be output here as a child in this column. Therefore here I see no expenses found, but if I add a new expense here, like $16.99, and maybe this is travel, we see that instead. So this works. But now let's work on that message that should be shown if we dismiss an expense. To show a message after deleting an expense, it sounds like it would be a good idea to go to this remove expense method, because that is where we do remove expenses. And indeed it is here, after calling remove, where I do want to show this info message. And we can show such a message by using another feature offered by Flutter. Besides all these utility show functions which Flutter offers here, it also offers a special object which you can use for showing or hiding certain UI elements. And here that would be the scaffold messenger utility object which we want to use. This scaffold messenger object has an auth method which we must execute, which wants a context value, which, as you learned, is available in this class, which is based on the state class. Now this then gives us an instance of this scaffold messenger, and this scaffold messenger thing offers us various utility functions and methods that help us with controlling the user interface and showing certain things on that interface. Most importantly, we can call show snackbar to show a so-called snack bar, which you might have not heard before, but which in the end is just an info message which is shown on the screen. And show snack bar wants a snack bar value, and this value can be created by using the built-in snack bar class and instantiating this class here. And snack bar then needs at least a content which must be set to a widget. And in most cases, this will probably be some plain text. So here, for example, we could say expense deleted, because that is what we did. And this can be set to be const. But there is more that can be configured about that snack bar. For example, it also has a duration parameter that can be set and that wants a duration value. A value of type duration, which can be created with the built-in duration constructor function, so the built-in duration class. And this then has various parameters that can be set to define a duration. For example, we can set it to 3 seconds here. And this can also be turned into a constant value. And we can also add an action to our snack bar. So not actions, but one single action, and this must be of type Snackbar action, which is created by using the special Snackbar action constructor, so the Snackbar action class. And this then has also some configuration items, some parameters we can set, like for example the label, which does not want a widget, but a plain string. For example, undo, so that we have a button on that info message that allows us to bring back that deleted expense. And we then also have to add the onPressed parameter to define the function that should be executed if this undo button is pressed on this snack bar. And in here, I then want to call setState to update the UI and change registered expenses. And instead of removing something, here I want to add something again. However, actually not with the add method, but instead with the insert method, which also adds an item to a list, but we add an item to a list at a specific position, because I of course want to bring back that expense that we removed in exactly the same place where it was before. Now for that, we first of all need to find out where this expense was by getting the expense index, because insert wants the index where the element should be added and then the element that should be added. So we first of all need to find out which index this expense that we removed had, and for that, of course, before removing it, we need to get that index. We can get this by reaching out to registered expenses, and then there we have an index of method provided by Dart, to which we pass a value, and as a result we'll get the position of that value, the index of that value in that list. So it's then this expense index, which is passed as a first value to insert, and the second value is that expense which we deleted before. It was removed from the list, we can still access it down here though, and it will then be brought back into the list. And that's how we can display such an info message with such an undo button. If we now save that and force a reload to bring back those dummy items, you see that if I swipe them away, I get this info message at the bottom and it disappears after 3 seconds, but I can also press the undo button to bring back the item. And if I force a reload again, so that I have both items back, you will also see that if I remove Flutter Course, which is the first item here, and I bring back that item, it's brought back in first place, because that index was used to insert it in the right place. I can also remove both items, and in that case we might want to make sure that the info message that belonged to the item that was just removed is immediately cleared, so is also removed from the screen, and we show the next info message instead. Because at the moment, as you can see, if I remove both items, we get the first info message, and only after this one disappears, the next one appears. This might not be what we want, and we can make sure that we clear all existing info messages that we might have on the screen by using scaffold messenger of context, and there we can call clear snackbars, which removes any snack bars, so any info messages we might still have on the screen. With that, if we saved it, if I remove both, you see the old message is immediately removed and the new one is shown as I remove multiple items. So that's how we can show those info messages and how we can bring back items if we accidentally removed them.